Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. And we got some news. First story I wanted to get out of the way because this one is an important one. Doge has leaked our spy satellite top security or top secret information on their website. Doing a wonderful job over there, by the way. I'm just curious who gave these guys clearance to have that. And I think the larger concerning part here is that we now know that Doge has access to top security information, the top secret information, which is
Whoops.
really concerning because now what else do they have? I mean, they handed off our secrets to a bunch of kids, and now we're paying the price for it. I'm not even really sure what to say other than this is wildly predictable. And they did this to save a few $1,000,000.
Oh, who could have seen this coming
And they
besides
haven't
all
cut
of us?
anything. By the way, they haven't cut anything, by the way. They haven't cut anything. They haven't cut anything. They've just frozen all the money.
And here
Elon
we
might have
are.
top secret clearance. Other people in Doge don't. And releasing that information, whether or not you have a top security clearance or not, yeah, that'll get you put in prison.
Hey, lighten up. That's my nephew you're talking about. He just
What?
turned 12. He runs Doge.
He runs Doge and
Yes. And he's got softball practice on the weekends, okay?
He likes oranges during their breaks, all right?
Yes.
All
In
right, what do we
other
got in the news
news,
up? Yeah, go ahead.
yes. Trump today signed an executive order defunding public schools that require vaccination mandates. Never mind the fact that this would be a policy otherwise administered by the Department of Education. He's taken unilateral control in this administration's approach towards vaccine science and has now handed them a major rollback within that initiative. In addition to that, in terms of public health, Trump administration has disrupted the response to the bird flu by withholding reports and canceling meetings with both members of Congress and state health officials, leading to confusion and concern among federal staff, state officers, veterinarians, and health experts, per 11 independent sources towards Reuters. So, this is what we're seeing today, gearing up for yet another pandemic or major health scare.
And did you see in Louisiana, they're now directing against mass vaccination?
Yeah.
What is it with these guys? I don't understand I don't understand the logic. They just want less Republican voters? Is
I
that the
guess.
goal here? I'm so confused. What is the point? What is the reason of this? Is the whole reason just to undermine doctor scientists and any sort of academia? That seems to be the goal, that they'd be willing to spite themselves and kill a whole bunch of people for either that or they're just too dumb. I can't figure it out if it's like an intentional thing or if this is just tertiary. Like they have a bunch of idiots in office that now think that they understand public health.
Mm.
We're going backwards. We're now watching tuberculosis reemerge in society.
And
We're
polio.
watching polio come back. We now have bird flu, which we have no idea what's going on with it because they've halted the updates, the weekly updates. So we don't know what's going on with that, which is going to affect all of us. That ends up getting into the influenzas. That ends up mutating into the influenzas. It's looking bad. It's looking bleak that a bunch of science-denying idiots are now toying with disease. And the worst kinds.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
But there has been one vocal opponent towards the head of the HHS. It's Robert Kennedy's sister and daughter of Robert Kennedy Sr., Carrie Kennedy, who says, quote, "I am disgusted by my brother's obscene embrace of Donald Trump, and I completely disavow and disassociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. and his flagrant efforts to desecrate my father's memory." Well said there, Carrie.
Do you know, this is a funny story. It's not really a funny story, but um, so Mitch McConnell voted against pretty much all of Donald Trump's nominees, right? With
Mm-hmm.
the exception of like Marco Rubio and the people that are actually qualified. Mitch McConnell voted against those nominees, and Trump's response was to bring back plastic straws.
There you have it.
just waiting for the joke to set
Yeah.
in.
Today, as of a few hours ago, the Trump administration today moved to fire more than 400 employees at the Department of Homeland Security in the latest effort in a government-wide campaign to dramatically reduce the federal workforce. Officials at the DHS said that they had fired hundreds of employees across several of its agencies after supervisors identified, quote, non-mission critical personnel in probationary status within the nation's top cybersecurity agency known as the CISA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a difficult concept to understand. There's going to be bad consequences to this that we're going to be paying for a long time in pretty much every aspect, right? This is the setup for. This is the thing that the crux, the thing that people point to. If you owned a business and they were like, or you had a business, or there was a business, and they were like, cut everyone that wants to quit, would that business be able to function? No, absolutely not. What would happen to that business? It would fail. Same thing with government. Cut everyone indiscriminately. What happens? There's holes in knowledge. There's gaps. There's these things that need to be addressed. There's not people to hear them. There's no way to get complaints up the chain of command because either those people don't care because they're Trump appointed yes men, or there's just nobody there. And so you end up with holes in intelligence. You end up with holes in major issues going on, or in FEMA response, or the list goes on. The actual, what we're going to experience from this, we won't know until it happens. That's the concerning part. There's no one to identify it, right? Like you see the Biden administration, you see a lot of things come up where it's like the report comes up where they're investing in something because they had a bunch of reports on it, because they saw that this was going to be a significant problem and they addressed it. There will be none of that in the Trump administration. He's going to spend the first 6 months screwing everything up to the point where it's just indefensible. And we're going to be watching a ton of really bad stuff happen, whether it be domestic terrorist attacks, whether it be planes dropping out of the sky, whether it be failed emergency responses that lead to utter chaos. The list goes on. We're going to be watching that over and over and over and over again. And then they're going to have to spend time cleaning it up, or they just don't care. That's the other option. They just don't care. But we're going to experience some really bad ramifications of it. And I've been screaming it because what's going to happen is the Republicans are going to turn around and go, it was actually the Democrats. It was the they're going to say this and for 4 years. It was the Democrats that did it. The Democrats. That's what they're going to say, despite the fact that they're making the cuts now. We're going to see an increase in really bad stuff happening in America because there
Yes,
won't be the
indeed.
people there to stop it.
And on
Are
the
you ready?
corruption front, the Department of Justice issued an ultimatum through a motion filed to dismiss the corruption case against New York Mayor Eric Adams, stating that those who did not comply with said order and seek to prosecute him in other regards would ultimately be fired. In light of this, 7 Justice Department lawyers, including the top U.S. prosecutor out of Manhattan, resigned over the order to drop the case. It seems as though
Now,
latent corruption is back, and those who are the
right.
corrupt Democrats have now taken umbrage with Donald Trump and his Department of Justice in order to get by.
Now, I'm wondering if the judge is even going to accept the dismissal of charges because this was under duress, right? Unless the person
Hmm.
that was in the room with him was like, no, I'll drop the charges, right? This was under duress, so I don't know that the judge is even going to accept it. I'm not sure what the rules are. To be honest, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. So uh, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, they're taking away the autonomy of investigators, right, and replacing
Hmm.
rule of law with Trump's law. That's what
And this
this
will, of
is.
course, as you indicated, require the approval of a judge. But this comes at the heels of a recent meeting that Adams had at Mar-a-Lago with President Trump. And over and above, the argument seems to be that this lawsuit and this federal corruption charge has limited his ability to address illegal immigration and violent crime. So this seems to be the crux of them dismissing this case so that he can work with them in mass deportations.
Now they're calling for his resignation.
Yes.
He
It appears as
absolutely
though
needs to be
Hochul's the only
resigning.
one with that jurisdiction. I didn't know this, but
Yeah.
according to New York law, she can fire him.
Oh,
Yeah.
do it.
She's
Do
weighing
it.
that option, but she's taking too damn
Do
long.
it. Do it.
Taking for the team.
Yeah. You know? I don't know why you would. I would fire him in a minute. I would even do it in the Trump voice. You're fired.
You're
Yeah.
fired. It's tremendous.
You're so fired. All right. Did we have any other news for today?
Let's see what else we got here. National Park Service removed all mention of trans people from the page, including Stonewall. They've now cited it as LGB as opposed to LGBT. Mind you, the Stonewall uprising of 1969 was a major breakthrough and milestone led by a trans woman. What else have we got here? Here's a funny story here.
What was?
Ohio lawmakers, what's up?
No, go ahead.
Ohio lawmakers have proposed a new law that bans men from ejaculating without the intent of conception. This calls for a fine of up to $10,000 per shot. This being, of course, a move to combat their state's very stringent anti abortion laws. This was brought up by the Democrats. No likelihood of it passing, but a symbolic gesture and one that's meaningful at that.
I just want to say it looks like people are watching my stream because I pointed out that we should do that.
Oh, here's a fun one today.
Am
In
I
a typical
responsible?
Valentine's fashion, it's true.
Maybe.
In a typical Valentine's Day fashion, President Trump has issued a decree today from the White House, a very special set of words here. Quote, in light of recent events, until further notice, I am directing all staff, operations, personnel, cabinet members, and White House visitors to stop using the word felon while inside the White House or on White House grounds, whether in conversation
mention
or in
that one.
writing. Failure to comply with this directive will result in the immediate expulsion and or disciplinary action.
Right. So we're not sure if it's true or not, but the Trump administration didn't respond. So we're going to need someone to go on a White House tour and call Trump a felon and record it.
Mm-hmm.
If you could. I don't know if you can record at the White House tours.
Be nice. It's the people's home.
Do it anyways. Report back to us. What about freedom of speech? That does not exist
Oh, no.
in Donald
No.
Trump land.
As of this point, that
So-
story's unverified, but they haven't denied it,
unverified.
so it's very plausible that it does, in fact, exist. That's all I've got.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's all the news for today.